Back again. In this video, we're going to cover two areas. Uh, Spacing between letters, which is known as kerning with a K, and spacing between lines of text, and show you how to fix those. So we'll use this as an example right here. So let's do the spacing between lines. So this is one line of text. This is another line of text. If you have multiple lines of text, you want to have the spacing consistent. Now this space is a little bit large, and the spacing is going to change depending on what type of font you use and the size, because it'll give you different effects depending on what font you're using. Sometimes you don't have a problem, sometimes you do. So I'm going to fix the spacing here because I think that's too much of a space there. So to do that, we will go to is 4.0 Word. Fine, here's 4.0. Now we can double click on the T. Oh, what happened? Let's try again. It always does it. There you go. And it highlights everything. And then if this panel isn't open up, let's close it. This is probably what you'll get. You'll double click, everything will be highlighted, and then you'll be looking for the panel that you just saw there. Well, you go to this button here, click on it, that panel pop up. You want character, and you have all these settings over here. And see if I remember this one. Does that look like line spacing? I think that's line spacing. We'll find out. I can never remember. So let's back out of there. Let's see what happens if we get any change. So you can type in a number there or use the auto. Let's see what that does. Okay, that's too close. Let's try these all. So that was too close. Let's try 18. What does that do? No. How about that? Next one. No, wrong one. How about 24? I like that one. Maybe actually right here where that H is probably a little bit too high there. So let's try the next one up. 30. That might be too much. Eh, Now, if you don't like any of those, you can always just change it. So 30, I'm going to say 28. How about that one? Go with 28. And I hit enter, so I exited everything. So 28 is what I want. So that fixes line spacing. So this, now this is going to only change line spacing because these are on the same layer. Okay, whoops, sorry. Myth, the legend, and my name are on different layers. So you don't use a line space to do that. To do that one, you just select the one you want to move, and you can use the arrow keys on your keyboard and just move it up like that into position. All right. Uh, Now the other one was the letter spacing in the word future here. Because of this font, again, each font is different. In this case, it has too much spacing between each letter there. Let's zoom in here a little bit for you. So that spacing between the letters is I think, too much. And you might want to fix a little bit over here. You notice that here's the same font I use, but it looks fine up there. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. You won't like the answer you get. Don't ask me what I think of you. You may not like what I tell to you. Oh, yeah. Remember that song? All right, let's fix that letter spacing. Same thing. We're going to fix Blender's future. Now, Blender's future. I'm just going to select that layer, and I am going to go to the text tool in this case. Because if I selected everything, I might as well show you. If I select everything, it's going to change the spacing in between here, the S and the F, which we don't want. But I'll show you where it is. It's up here again. This is the letters kerning, spacing between letters. If I, left click or hold down the left click button and just move to the left or right, you can see it changes the spacing. But you can see it also changes the spacing between the S and F, which we don't want to change. So let me zoom out so we can see this. So I will not select that. So you can, with the layer selected and you go to the text tool, you can highlight a particular word that you want to change and isolate them, and then you can change it. Now this is where you need paper and pencil again, because depending on what we're going to choose here, let's see what 75 going to do. Oh, that's nearly perfect, but not quite. So I'm going to go negative 70. Let's try 78, see what that does. Just the R and the S are touching a little bit right here. What's the other one? Let's try. Why am I do? Well, how about negative 90? See what happens. Don't ask me what I think of you. I'll leave that there. So that's good. Negative 90, that's good with us. So we have that. We write that down, negative 90. Accept that. Highlight this one, negative 90. Type in negative 90. And, oops, don't get the 0 in there. How about negative 90? And that should fix the problem. And it squeezes it back together. Now, if you wanted to, you could even, you know, see it touches there. Now, if I space it out, it's going to space these out further. And even this has perhaps too much space in there. So you could actually highlight just those letters. I'm going to highlight those three. And you can actually, again, do the same thing. Use the spacer here. Now we want to go, I don't know. How about negative 80? Negative 80. See what happens. I'm going to leave like that just to save time. And I'm not going to be that critical of it, so don't go crazy with it. But just, if I see dramatic spacing between letters, then you will lose points. All right, so that's it. So I showed you how to change the spacing and how to change the change the space between lines of text and change the spacing between letters. And that will conclude Command S, save that work, this video.